should Islamic schools use textbooks or mainstream biology textbooks as instructional materials, right? But at the same time, try to, how can they actually balance between the information that may be in opposition of the teachings of Islam, right? So what should, the educational institutions do to kind of clarify these mistakes, inshallah ta'ala? It's outside of just like the books of science, but also like books of history at the same time. Myself being a teacher at Islamic schools, you see a lot of, things that contradict, our very, basic beliefs in Islam. So a history book, for example, world history book, they make it seem that, shirk was first in existence. And then when Abraham came along, this was the introduction of monotheism, right? Or the concept of attributing everything to like Mother Nature, what suggestions would you have for educators, like myself or Islamic institutions where we can actually begin, this process of, maybe establishing something that will supplement this information or that contradicts our beliefs?
I think it's, I don't know how to do this with young kids, but I think that the way that I would approach this is to make it very clear that anything you read about something like history or society is coming from a certain perspective and has certain assumptions and is pushing a certain worldview, right? And I think that the sooner you teach children this, the better able they will be to be aware of when they're being manipulated or what where the background of their thinking is coming from. I think in a sense, you can, it puts a little more onus on the teacher because the teacher is not relying on the book. They are more using the book as a teaching tool, where the book becomes not just a piece of place to get information, but becomes a piece of evidence itself for how certain worldviews are being promulgated. Okay. So that's what I would suggest. Usually in the United States, that's seen as like a stage for, you learn history and then you learn about how history is written. Yes. But I think that way will inevitably leave students with certain, like as I said, kind of background assumptions about the nature of reality, and that's not what you want. You want them to understand from the very beginning that they're going to be confronted by claims about reality that are not theistic, that are naturalistic, that are based on, say, the idea of progress and all these things. And so you just want them to be aware of that from the very beginning. Yes.
Now, maybe this is, one of the institutions that we definitely have to actually develop, as more educational institutions that actually support our Islamic schools, such as Islamic Board of Education, where, we can, come together and kind of, create supplemental materials that offsets, this particular type of thinking, right? So that, our teachers are prepared to actually, handle these issues head on when they come across or have to teach these type of topics, when they're actually teaching these topics, within their classroom.